Guys, welcome back to No Stones Podcast. This is volume 2 with Ian and Joe.
Yeah, what's going on, good people?
Yeah, we're so excited. So the first one, man, I think it was a great lead in. Had a lot of fun talking.
Yes.
It got away from us a little longer than we expected. That's okay. Because it's just great stuff. It's great to be able to get time together to break down even further the lecture stuff, and then also just tangent out on things that
talk about
popped
stuff,
to mind.
man. I liked it, man. I had a great time, and hoping everybody out there had a good time too, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's so much fun. And truly, I think that's the beauty of this. This is truly a joy.
Yeah, it is. It's fun, man. I love doing this, man. I used to do this sitting around the house with, my buddies and stuff, man. Thank God we didn't have anything recording at the time, because we were saying some outlandish stuff back then.
I'm telling you, brother. The thing is too, it's fun because I know I love talk. You love talk. We love to have these debates personally and internally, and also just talk about the stuff. And the fun thing is, you can watch if you want. We're still getting it out there.
I did. I was looking at myself. I was like, man. Okay, I made a little bit of sense, because, it's different when you're sitting in front of the camera and, you're talking and stuff. You're thinking, I don't know about you, but my brain is going like, did I just say that?
Straight up. I hyper analyze myself mid-speech, and then by the time that we're done, especially lectures I'm like, what did I say again? Was I talking smoothly, or was I talking in tongues I'm not supposed to be? You know what I mean? So, but this week, we talked about love in the lecture last week. Or this past Sunday, and there's a couple of things in it that we actually, after the lecture was over, folks, Joe and I had a further discussion on something, and that's what we decided to lead into today. Now, I brought 2 Bibles today because, quite frankly, when it comes to earthly love, let's put it that way, my record it's worse than Auburn against Alabama the past decade. You know what I mean? So, but it's because, quite frankly, I have not lived in a biblical sense of trying to approach relationships.
Right.
I mentioned eros in a lecture. I live very heavily in that, right? What makes me feel good? What makes other people feel good? We're all into feel goods. It was never about, am I actually being a good man?
Right.
Am I being a leader? And so we talked about that, and where the submission piece comes in Ephesians. And I think, it took us about 10 minutes to really get to a point where we're like, okay, we agree on this.
Yeah.
But it's because that's how easy it is to get peeled apart. And I think you brought up, and I'm going to pass it off to you. You mentioned, like, man, it's one of those things that's a tough dance. And the reason why it gets the ridicule it does, I think, biblically from people, especially non-believers, is because of the word submission.
Yes.
But, brother, honestly, your track record relationship, way better than mine. I have a great one now. Best one I've ever had in my life, thankful. It's because we actually have godly principles. But, man, take it away. Can I give it some insight on that submission piece? And then I got some things I want to bring that I went, man, it solidifies the fact submission is very important and how it kind of correlates.
Well, I look at it like this. Well, the way I look at it is when I was younger, I grew up in the church. I wasn't really involved in it. Well, I was in the choir and stuff like that, things like that. But I wasn't really studying. I really wasn't going for understanding.
Right.
You did what I'm saying?
Right.
But the thing that I had was I had 2 groups of people that I could watch that gave me a glimpse of what it looked like to be in a godly marriage.
Yeah.
One of them was definitely my mother and my father divorced when I was young.
Right.
My father remarried, and Beverly Lynn Harris, my beautiful, loving stepmother, but she's my mom. I call her my mom.
I love that. Yeah.
Because she has always been so good to me. She's always treated me like her own biological child, and we still to this day we have a great relationship.
I love that. Shout out to Mom.
Shout out to you, Mom. Shout out, Mom. Her and my dad have had a relationship, and I watch them, and I watch their relationship go. And then my grandmother and my grandfather, which was totally different, because my grandfather was, I believe he was a faithful man, but he did not play the radio as far as like with the preachers and stuff like that, because like I said, my grandmother raised me up in the Pentecostal church.
Yeah.
And my grandfather did not play that Pentecostal thing. He was like, man, them folks out there just trying to take your money and stuff like that. So he really didn't really go to church, but you could tell he just moved like a godly man. And him and my grandmother modeled they were together for 60-some plus years before my grandfather passed away. So, and the stories that I heard were the things that they went through together, you know, because they've been through it all. They had went through it all.
60 years, heck yeah.
I'm telling you. They were 60 plus, you know.
That's wild.
She got married when she was 16.
That's wild.
My brother got married when she was 16.
Yeah, that's wild.
So, and they were together up until I think my grandfather passed in 2013.
Jeez, yeah.
And she just recently passed about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was my rock, you know.
Yeah.
But I had two people that I could watch with a godly marriage, even though, like I said, I wasn't involved in church like deeply in there. But when I got older, once my biological mother passed when I was a senior in high school. And from the time that I was about 18 until I was about 24, 25, man, boy, I was out there doing the most, man. I was out there doing the most. And
you were acting like a Corinthian that we
what you say? Yes. Very much so, man. And as I got older, you know, I had a daughter. And my daughter was what made me like, hey, man, you got to calm down now. And I went back and I started talking to my dad, you know, about some things. And I was like, you know what? I gotta leave these women alone, because I was out there doing it, man. I was doing it big. And I had to leave them. I had to think about what it was that I was looking for, because now I got a daughter. You know, and I can't I didn't need to model myself like a man, so that my daughter will understand what to look for in a man. So I started to think about things, and the whole time I was going from like 21 to like in my later 20s to like 24, I was check marking the things that I wanted in a woman. I knew I was like, okay, I can't have this. Okay, if she not good with money, I can't deal with her. If I can't trust her, I can't deal with her. If she's still moving like my grandma used to say, fast, I can't deal with that, man. You know, that's a bad thing. So I started checking them off. And submission was the last thing that I was thinking about. It wasn't even a thought in my mind until me and my father sat down and had a talk one day. And my dad told me something a long time ago that made me get an understanding of women. And my dad was like, it's profound with what it was to me. You don't have to be God's gift to women. You just have to be God's gift to one woman. And if you're God's gift to that woman.
That's good.
And I was like, you know what? If I'm not God's gift to her, then I probably need to go ahead and move on and search for somebody else. Not to be like prideful or ego or anything like that. But you need somebody that loves you for the person that you are.
100%.
And is not trying to change you around. And you need to be able to love that person for the person that they are. So, long story short, I met my now wife in 2002. In December of 2002. As a matter of fact, December 13th was our first date.
I love that. I love that you know the date. That makes me
because it was Friday the 13th.
There you go. Okay. Even more marked.
Which was scary.
We're setting precedents here.
We met at work.
That's good.
We worked together, and I actually trained her how to drive a forklift.
That's awesome.
That's how we actually.
Which is a really fun thing to do, by the way.
Absolutely.
I love, for all y'all that don't know, if you're not forklift certified, just do it. It's so much fun.
I still do it to this day.
I love driving forklifts. Scary. Maybe me on a forklift. I'm like Michael Scott in there and knocking stuff
doing donuts.
You can't play with a baler, Ian. I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? But anyway, sorry.
I watched her, and like I said, at the time I wasn't looking for anything, but the first thing that I noticed about her was she would work a good man under the table. It's still to this day, man, she has a work ethic that is just out of this world.
I love that.
And that was what I first noticed about her, other than, her shape and everything. I mean, I did notice that. And I was talking to her one day, we were talking and everything. And one day she came in her regular clothes, because we wore uniforms. She came in without her uniform on, some regular clothes to pick up a paycheck. And I watched her walk up the steps. And I was training somebody else at the time, and he was like, hey, Joe, and I was doing this.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Yeah, he was like, you all right? And I looked up and I was like, I'm going to get that girl right there.
I love that.
You know, and swear, that's what I said. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the next time I got a chance, I asked her out on the date.
I love that.
And we went out that night, and it ended up working out great. We started dating, like I said, the first date was December the 13th, 2002. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, like I say, I was not into the church like I am now. And we ended up moving in together, which probably isn't the best idea.
Right, yeah.
Wasn't the best idea, but we met it, like I said, we met in December. We moved in with each other by April.
Got you. Okay. That's actually, honestly, in today's terms, that's not a bad timeline, right?
Well,
there.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
everybody was looking at us like, "Hey, man, y'all kind of moving real fast."
Yeah.
But
when you know, you know.
Well, that's
right?
what I'm saying. She checked off everything that I was looking for in a woman.
Yeah.
Every single thing that I was looking for, and almost like, I don't want to say Proverbs 31 woman, because
I literally have it open to that, by the way.
but
right
she just moved like that.
Yeah.
And my mom always, my biological mom always told me, when you find the one and she moved like you wanted to move, you better lock her down real quick.
Yeah.
So that April, we moved in with each other. And she already had 2 kids and I had a daughter.
Yeah.
And we went through it together. And by February of 2004, we got married.
I love that. Yeah.
So we got married February 2004, and we've been together ever since. Now, it's been rough.
Yeah.
Because we going on 23 years now. And we've raised our kids together.
That's a long time, brother.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a long time.
It was rough, though, because we went through a lot of patches and a lot of things that we had to sit down and actually, we joined the church.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that we did. Let me back that up. She used to ask me all the time, because she came from a real broken home and whatnot. And she was like, how are you so happy all the time? Mm-hmm. How are you so happy all the time? And I was like, well, I can show you if you really want to know.
Yeah.
And she was like, what is it? And I pulled out my Bible.
Yeah.
And I started talking to her about the Bible. I was like, this is what I'm learning. I'm learning how to do this, and this is what's giving me joy.
Yeah.
And so we started reading together and started talking together.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we ended up finding a wonderful church, Grace Church in St. Louis, Missouri. Mm-hmm. And we started going there together, and we actually got baptized together. And we tried to raise our kids in that atmosphere. And it was rough because, like I said, we weren't like the most good old Christians, like, you think people should be, but we were actually trying. We were reaching for something.
Well, that's the key. I think we have that. Like, I grew up in the church too, and like, you have this concept that one day, man, the whole circuit board is going to flip on, all the switches are going to be up, and everything we do is going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And then that's we talked about denominations last week, and that's the thing you look at too, is it's always this kind of like this perfect emblem of what you think, okay, I'll get there one day. Mm-hmm. But the point of life is the journey.
It's the journey, man.
And I don't think we give enough credit to that, right?
No, we don't.
And that's the thing, it's like, we're never, I said it in the lecture too, I'm never going to be perfect. Far from it. I'm never even, we're trying to go good to great, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And find that little, I said, extraordinary, right?
Yeah. Going from okay to cool to then being good.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a journey. And that's what the submission piece, what we were talking about it was in Ephesians. I'm not even in Ephesians.
5 and 21.
Yeah. So it's in Ephesians, and look at that. Man, I might know where stuff's at in this thing. We're getting there for sure. But what was interesting was in the NIV, when I was talking from on Sunday, and then you look at kind of what it brings up. This is separated in this NASB, which is more direct, full translation, right? Mm-hmm. It's separated from the section, and I had to seek it out. When you look at 21, it says, "And be subject to one another in the fear of Christ." Then it goes on to wives be subject, and it. Different section. Wives, be subject to your own husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as the Christ is also as the head of the church, he himself being the Savior of the body. But as the church is subject to Christ, as also the wives ought to be to their husbands in everything. Mm-hmm. That's where I think people, I'm going to preface this by saying that's where people are quick to criticize submission and, what does that mean? And look at these men in church and these women in church. And quite frankly, this isn't for anybody that's not a Christian.
It's not.
And that's where I think the world goes, if you ever see yourself sitting in a position And so I'm an Auburn fan. I use Alabama.
I'm an Alabama fan.
Exactly, right?
And we're sitting here talking to each other. See, you could be civilized.
Yeah, so he knew that, what's his name, Stimson or whatever got drafted. That's why he's got the LA stuff on it. Number 13, if I'm not mistaken. The reason why that's so important is because I'm not going to all of a sudden go, you see why I'm not an Alabama fan?
Yeah.
It's because they wear crimson and white.
Yeah.
I just know I'm not an Alabama fan. And this isn't about going, hey, if you don't do these, that's where people screw up, I think, in the world. Mm-hmm. We look at it and go, well, the Bible says that, then you got to do that. Man, you can pick apart the Bible and you can pick apart people really quickly.
Yes, you can. Very much so.
And this is one of those things that's so important. You know, I mentioned it in a lecture. It goes on to say, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up to her so that he may sanctify her, having cleansed her by washing the water of the word. And it talks about how you're meant to be a leader.
Yes.
And the submission piece, you know, when you first see that, it says subject to one another in the fear of Christ, right? That's 21. Mm-hmm.
No, that was the part that I was looking at, because and the way that I was looking at this is the previous verses before that is if you start at the beginning of the chapter, Paul is talking to the entire body, you know, so he's giving instruction to the body,
correct,
how to move, and once you get to verse 15, look carefully then how you walk. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. And do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery. But be filled with the Spirit, addressing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart, giving thanks always for everything to God, the Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another out of reverence. And that is the part, that submitting to one another out of reverence was directed to the entire body.
Correct. Yep.
And I think what people do is they run that last verse into the wives and the husband line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And depending on what translation, that's what I was saying earlier, depending on what translation, it couples it that way.
It couples it that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and that's what I was saying, because we both have a problem. I think we do both have a problem with for lack of a better way of putting it, the liberal church. That is taking things out of context.
100%.
And using it. And that was kind of like what I was thinking when that came out. And I'm like, okay, because that's going to give somebody fire to be able to say, well, he got to listen to me too. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it was like you explained, it's like, well, he is going to listen to you, but he's going to listen to you for a completely different reason.
Exactly.
Other than the submission part of it. He's going to listen to you out of love.
Correct.
For some odd reason, the word submission is looked at like you were saying, woman, get in there and cook me something, you know?
Yes.
And to worldly people, I can see why they see it
that way.
But godly submission is not that way. That's not the way it is, you know? So that's the part that we really need to break down. The godly submission.
Exactly. And that's why I loved it. We stood out in the street after this, and we talked for about 10 more minutes about this. And it's because understanding submission, and we said that too, submission is looked at such a bad word. It is not. What it means, and you hit the nail on the head, it's submitting to God's holiness, right? And that's what the reference is. And then we go down to 1 Peter. So when you flip to 1 Peter, chapter 3, it goes in, and verse 5, it says, for in this way in the former times, the holy woman also who hoped in God used to adorn themselves, being submissive to their own husbands, just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. And you have become her children if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear. Your husbands in the same way live with your wives in an understanding way, as with someone weaker, since she is a woman, and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life, so that your prayers will not be hindered. Prayers will not be hindered. So that's the other piece, is that it's submission in a way that is godly submission. When God made Adam and Eve, he pulled Eve from the rib for a specific reason. They were to walk together and go together.
Side by side.
Exactly.
I think the submission thing that runs them crazy is, like they said, the weaker, they're the weaker vessel.
Well, I can run a little faster than Amy.
I'm stronger than Crystal.
Exactly.
So, I think a lot of people are offended by.
They are, absolutely.
They're upset about that, and it's like, hey man, it is what it is. And here's the thing: if I'm supposed to be a leader, like you were saying, Sunday, if I'm supposed to be a leader, and I had to break this down to some people the other day. There's a certain amount of control that I need to have.
Absolutely.
Just like when you go to work, if your boss tells you he has to have a certain amount of control.
Big time.
To be able to get things done if that's your boss.
Yeah.
It's the same way in the body of Christ.
Yeah. It's continuity of design, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So as a husband, it's not that you're controlling.
Correct. Yep.
To be for the sake of being controlling.
Exactly.
But if you want me to lead, then you got to, first of all, you got to put your trust in me, because I can't lead you if you don't trust me.
Exactly.
So the bickering back and forth about certain things, now, not to say that we don't, because me and my, like I said,
it's natural.
Crystal is a very strong-willed woman.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because sometimes her strong will has kept me from doing some stupid stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
And I always listen to her for her advice. I go to her and I ask her certain things because she's a wise woman. I'll ask her some things like that. To see the things that we need to get done in our house. Spiritual things, she kind of leans on me for that.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't hoard my control over her.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When we hop in a car, there's only one steering wheel.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the way you got to look at this. Is like I've
always heard it said 2 heads, or anything with 2 heads is a monster.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That's the way I think that really this is what this is talking about. And again, this is so important. And if you are not a Christian, if you're not a faith believer, like you said, it may not make a bunch of sense, especially this day and age. No. But also right now, truth and reality aren't making sense for a lot of people either.
That's true.
And so that's the truth of it. I don't go and say, I think there's a fairness thing that rolls into. Look, you know what's not fair? Usain Bolt can outrun me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not going to go do? Try for the Olympics. Okay?
Chris Hemsworth is way more.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not fair.
I'm so mad. You know what I mean? No, but that's the truth, right? There's truth in these things.
I don't know if he's handsome.
I don't think so, brother. I'm going to tell you that. I don't think so. But there's so much truth in these things that's the understanding, and you have to seek out, like you said, that good relationship that's godly, so that you both understand the reverence of it. There's a great book, man. There's actually 2. His Needs, Her Needs is really good. One of the ones that I think is just really fascinating for couples. And I've read this, even though I've had terrible couple histories here. And again, mine now, Amy is fantastic. We have a great relationship now, and it's because we both are Christians. We both, I believe, are seeking out a knowledgeable existence together to coexist in the way that's supposed to. And it's not always easy. But there's a book called, Love and Respect. And what Love and Respect talks about, it's been like 2 million books sold. I can't pronounce the guy's name. It's like Hesselberg or some crazy stuff. But what he has something there where he talks about the crazy cycle. And what he says is that men need respect and women need love.
Yes.
When a man doesn't feel respected, he doesn't show love. When a woman doesn't feel loved, she doesn't show respect.
Yeah.
And so it turns into a crazy cycle. And so 2 weeks later, and I'm sure you ran into this, right?
Yes.
In your years of marriage, you turn around and go, what are we even fighting about?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're fighting about, but I know I'm not supposed to like you right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, the early years between us, man, it was like,
yeah.
We cared about each other so much that we were willing to work through it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we had people around us who were Christian people who were feeding into us.
Yeah.
And we turn around and be like, yeah, like you said, man, what were we really fighting about?
Exactly.
And why is it that serious that we are, going at each other like this? Plus, we didn't want to have that type of life being shown to our kids.
100%.
Because we were both trying to break cycles that our families faced.
Yeah.
And, we trying to fix those things in our life. So we ended up coming around pretty good. Like I said, we're not empty nesters now. So
so things are wonderful now, right? That's the wonderful thing about it, man. The other thing too, I love the commentary, right? So we were talking about commentaries and all that. So in the commentary of this NASB is MacArthur Bible commentary. He focuses on prayers will not be hindered to the man. I wanted to speak to this too. He says this refers specifically to the husband's prayer for salvation of his wife. So he's talking about a woman that may not be saved. And he says for such a prayer would be hindered if he were not respecting of her needs and fellowship. So again, it's the his needs, her needs thing, right? And you talked about Proverbs 31. The 31 woman, I actually brought that up. It's so funny. I have it here. What 31 is talking about is a woman who is active, who is working, who's a hard worker for her family. It even talks about the snows of the mountains and she's covering and spinning the wool to build the clothing. Yeah. There's also another woman. She works with her hands. Exactly. There's also another woman, and this is what I was going to point to too. So we're talking biblically here, guys. So be careful that you understand we're talking biblically, and honestly, that's the only thing that really should matter. Yeah. But there's another woman that's also very, very hyper-focused on in Proverbs, and it's chapter 7, the warning against an adulterous woman. Oh, man. And that's where I think this has to come into play. Right. Because with this one, it says... so for instance, I'm going to start with verse 21 here. It says, with a persuasive word, she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. All at once he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose till an arrow pierced his liver, like a bird darting into the snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. Now then, my sons, listen to me. And this is Solomon that wrote this. Pay attention, and he would know. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths. Many are victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading you down to the chambers of death. The direct translation says Sheol. You're going to die and be in eternity to death. Yes. So that is so critical, because what this is talking about is a woman who is out gallivanting, lady of the night, if you will, while her husband was away on business. And that was the conviction that she said, oh, don't worry about it, bud. Yeah. He's away. But then it talks about how many she had slayed. You're talking about a fast person earlier. Yeah. Women also, I think, with the whole, and I have this idea, I told you this idea, I want to do true feminism, women's Bible. Oh, I really think that, I really want to do it. I'm going to get chopped up for that one. But hey, at the end of the day, that's okay. That's the point. Yeah, hey man, it is what it is. But women are to be uplifted and in reverence. And the Proverbs 31 woman is really talking about a great woman, right? Who's supporting, loving, caring, building, growing, working, to be alongside her husband with that God. But then there's also, men don't have it. We always joke, man, men don't have it like women, right? So it's not as easy for us to go out on the street and tell them it's okay. Here's my, they're out making money, come hang out. Yeah. It doesn't work like that for men. So that's the other thing we look biblically. There's a reason why this stuff is structured this way. Yes. And naturally, we think differently. Our brains operate differently. Very much so. Scientifically, that's proven. Yeah. And so it's really easy for a man to get caught in a lustful situation, the eros situation, and not in the agape situation. Especially with a woman, like you said, that type of woman, because men typically are not used to being came on to like that by women. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Chris Rock had that famous line like, man, I can't run that fast. So when it's a woman chasing you, it's hard. Most men can't run that fast. It takes a ton of discipline. Yeah, it takes a ton of discipline for you to be able to turn away from that, man. And 100%. A lot of us, I know I didn't when I was younger. Yeah. I just didn't have any discipline like that. Well, you know what it was? I thought I was in control. But see, so I thought I was like, you know what, man, it's totally cool. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I did. I did a lot of that too, man. In reality, I wasn't in control of shit. Yeah, well, I'm sorry to say it that way, but that's the facts, though. But I looked at it because, like I told my wife once, I was like, man, because my wife knows that. She was like, where did all these ex-girlfriends keep coming from? Yeah. That was one of the arguments that we had when we first started dating each other. And I was like, look, man, I've been out there. There's a lot of them out there, and I had to be honest with her and tell her, because I didn't want her to. Be like running away because she's like, where are these women coming from? And I'm like, a lot of them still hang around and stuff like that. Yeah. So as I went on, I had to start like giving like Derrick Henry stiff arms out, man. Just like get back. But it took a toll. Yeah. On the beginning of our relationship, man. So like I said, I had to buckle down and be like, look, man, I'm with somebody. Yeah. I got somebody and I want to make this right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's, I was talking one of the lectures I did, I hate to always refer to that's part of this too, right, is I said anger, and I was talking about angry people, and I was talking about forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And, it's kind of, where was I going with this? It's kind of the same thing in the sense that, like, when you're an undisciplined man, you're not a trustworthy man.
There you go.
And so, and I look at it, I used to tell my sales teams, and I still repeat this all the time, so if you ever work for me in the future, you're going to hear it. If you do the big things correctly, the little things tend to fall in line. I'm not going to pay attention. But if you're not making your bed, brush your teeth in the morning, man, you're probably not doing the things that are detail-oriented.
Yeah.
Attention to detail is one of my favorite things to say. Yeah. A lot of people around me they cringe when they hear me say that.
It's true.
But it's so true.
It's very true.
And for men especially, we are meant to lead. We're meant to be leaders, especially leaders in our faith, leaders in our relationships. And again, the submission piece of a woman submitting that, it is not meant to be, I'm going to step over you, on you. Yeah. It is meant to be, I'm your protector. Yeah. I am your leader. I am willing to stand in front of whatever, ill will, either it be fighting lions, tigers, bears, whatever it is. If you aren't looking for that kind of succinct relationship, then are you truly looking for a relationship? That's
a good point right there, because that's the thing that I had to realize. I had to realize what kind of man I wanted to be and what kind of man I was. If you don't know what kind of man you are, you will not be a good fit for anyone. You won't be. So you really got to get yourself together first. Like I said, I was working on myself. Unfortunately, by the time I met her, I hadn't finished myself yet. But I got there over a period of time, in the beginning of our relationship. And by the time we got married, I was like, okay, this is the type of guy that I want to be. And I was like, okay, because I was in love, and I was like, I got to make sure that I'm the type of man that she needs me to be. I can't lead her if I can't trust myself.
Exactly. That's what I was single for so long. I stepped back from relationships for quite a while for me personally, because every time I turned around, they were ending badly. And it takes two to tango, right? So it was easy to always go, oh, well, she did this, or I'm sure there's plenty of them. Well, he did this, you know what I mean? But like, it was always a battle because it wasn't unity built in wholesome unity. It wasn't built in a way that made sense to grow. And, again, when we look at this biblical submission, it's more about understanding that as well. It's kind of like a pyramid, right? We want to grow together, and as we grow together, we go closer to God.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's in that reverence of understanding a role of sense that builds that foundation properly. And women, I'll be honest with you, if you don't want a man to be a leader, if you don't want a man to be a protector, I don't know what to tell you. There's a few exceptions to the rule where a woman may be stronger or faster. I haven't seen it yet because I'm watching these sports games, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of dudes are flipping over to the female side to win sports. Okay, I know that's going to be maybe controversial, but it's true. They're not losing; they're winning. They're winning. That's the controversy. If dudes were switching and winning,
I'm upset about that too.
Nobody would know about it.
I happen to be a very, very avid women's sports fan. I've always been at this, so that kind of stuff ticks me off because I see it.
It's destroying it. And so, but then it's all that's where the world steps in, right? So the world steps in and goes, oh no, we got to be accepting. Because we were talking about church last week about it's a grace of everything, and it's all Jesus love. Jesus is love, but he's a disciplined love.
Yes, very much so.
And when you start ignoring the realities and truths that are there, and then start living your truth, whatever you think. Everybody's truth's the same.
I hate that phrase.
Me too, man. It's so stupid.
Living my truth. I hate that.
What does
that
even mean?
Man.
What does that even mean?
It means that.
It means I'm trying to make up for crap because I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, and I don't want you to tell me that I'm wrong.
All right. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, look, I'll let you do what you want to do, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're not wrong.
100%.
Hey, man, I'm just now. Don't ask if you don't want my opinion. Don't ask me for it.
Exactly, bro.
Because I'm gonna give you my opinion.
I definitely will too.
But I mean, the submission thing, like I said, the modern day feminists are so upset about that phrase. It's well, you can't just control me. And like I say, if you want me to be a leader, there's a certain amount that I need to have control over. 100%. Now, I don't know about you, but it's certain times I don't try to control everything that goes on with my wife. But there are times where I had to be like, where you going with that on?
Get this.
Not like in a bad way, but I'm like, but I know how men look at women, and I'm like, okay, babe, I don't want men looking at you like that. I want you to be nice looking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so funny too.
She got to the point where she was like, how about this? Is this too short? That's where we are right now.
That's respect, though.
Yeah, that's respect. It's not like me beating her down with a hammer. You know what I mean?
Which is so crazy. You mentioned that, like, women also, I think at times there's the whole, the world teaches us. Jesus said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what is God's. Mm-hmm. Okay? We are God's. And Caesar's is of the world. That's what that phrase means, right? They're asked to pay the tax, the denarius and whatever. He's like, whose face is on it? Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. If you want to live in the world, then live in the world, but don't try and cross mingle, right? Yeah. And if you want to live a wholesome, fulfilled life, I would say you need to pay attention to the Word of God. Yeah. But when we look at this freedom of choice, yes, you have the freedom of choice, but then when you make that choice, you got to be careful how you can turn around and then go, oh, well, you're wrong for doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I got to talk with somebody about that, man.
Yeah, I don't walk out with, my hog hanging out.
Yeah, it's like it's like the Dave Chappelle thing where he was like, you dress like a cop. Hey, just because I'm dressed like a cop, don't mean that, man. But if you walk out here and you like ta-da, when you like bam, and you're
gonna get looked at.
You're gonna get looked at.
Absolutely.
Well, you can't look at me like that. Well, hey man, if you can dress this, and this is, hey man, I don't mean this like this, but if you're free to dress like that, and it's your body, your choice, then I'm free to look at what I want to look at because it's my body, my choice. And that's not saying that I'm doing that. That's lust. But I'm saying if that's how you want to think, you're giving everybody else their own free will to be able to do what they want to do. So why is it so offensive to you?
Exactly.
If you want to walk out the house like that for somebody to go, hey, yo, check. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what they're going to do.
Exactly. Because objectification is horrible, right? But also you don't want to put yourself in a position
to be objectified.
Right? Because then it's also, you lose respect for yourself. And also, like, as a guy, as a man, when I was Paul said when I was a child, I acted like a child kind of thing. We talked about that last week. At the end of the day, there was a time where absolutely, man, I was like, oh, you look at my girl, she's so hot and all this stuff. Yeah. Oh my God, trying to like achieve that so
show her off to everybody.
Exactly. So other people can give you the worldly respect that you want. Yeah. But then you sit there at night and you go, man, I don't know if I'm so comfortable with all that. Yeah. And then, but also it sets a precedent where you each other, you're going to lose respect for each other. Right. Then she's going to be like, well, why aren't you taking up for me? Right. And then you're going, well, I'm trying to, but I can't now. Seinfeld has a great... Do you watch Seinfeld? Yeah. I love Seinfeld. There's an episode of Seinfeld where George is talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, you've lost hand. Jerry goes, you've lost hand. You can't gain hand when you've lost hand. Yeah. And that's what he's talking about, is once you've lost the respect of her, where she loses respect for you, she is going to not submit properly in a godly way, right? You're not going to be able to lead in a godly way. Right. And you're both going to be in this embattlement of who are we supposed to be? We can't live the way that we are. Yeah. And it will destroy your relationship, and it'll destroy every single thing you touch. And the scary part, this is where, so I can speak personally from this. The scary part is when it starts affecting other relationships around you. Yeah. Because what happens is you'll be in a friends group, which I've been a part of, and then you'll have people that choose friends or others, and you start noticing, you can look back on life and go, man, it's crazy that my wife or my husband cheated on me with that guy or that girl, and we were friends for 10 years. Yeah. But then I also go, but you let them into your life as relationship friends, and they saw you degrading, and then y'all didn't have the proper setup to be mature in your relationship, that you didn't present each other in that way. No. And I'm not trying to like go on a tangent about it, but that's what it is too, is that when you talk about godly relationships and the submission piece, you have to lead as a man. They have to submit as a woman so that you can have a continuity that makes sense and that doesn't expose your relationship and its possible issues to everyone else. Yeah.
That's the thing that I had to deal with Crystal and I, man. I had to get to a point to where I stopped going and talking about our problems with other people. Usually that's a woman thing, but for me as the hothead,
you want to get it out.
I wanted to get it out, and I needed to be able to have somebody to vent to. And I was like, so my pop was like, hey man, don't do that. Don't do that, man, because you leaving a lot of room open, like you say, man. That's
what the Proverbs. I forget exactly what Proverbs it talks about. It's like, dude, shut up. Like,
stop, man.
Exactly.
Stop.
Loose lips sink ships.
If you need to talk to somebody, you need to be talking to the woman that you having a problem with with your wife, man. So I had to get over that, and I had to rebuke myself for that, man, because it was something that I had a problem with a while ago. It's something that I had to work on.
Well, it's supposed to be so normal. Like, that's the thing, is like, what's normal today is quite frankly not normal.
Yes, that's true.
And we look at social media and how people use social media platforms, and that's another one that's, 15, 20 years ago,
it's horrible.
You didn't get the attention. I got attention because my ringtone was cool. Not because of a photo, right? Or my little blinky light antenna on my Nokia.
I remember those.
They were awesome.
You got to hit three times to get a C on it.
Exactly. I could never do the T9 text. I could never figure it out. The predictive text, AI before it was AI. But that's, I think we've platformed ourselves to where too, if we are seeking attention in the wrong places, we'll seek counsel in the wrong places.
Yes.
And counsel is so vitally important to everyone. You got to have somebody you can talk to. And man,
that's a crazy thing, because I've been seeing the AI counselor.
Oh my God.
That is so scary to me.
Dude.
It's like the scariest thing in the world.
Well, it's scary. It's sad, honestly. As well, because we are so hyper fixated on quick fixes for everything.
Yes.
And we also, that allows us to be hyper fixated on easy fixes.
Easy. And to be able to, the computers, they build algorithms. And all they got to do, they're going to find out what you know and they're just going to tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
And
it's reaffirming.
90% of the time, it is absolutely not what you need. It's never what you need, really.
I'm going to go catch this trash can on fire. Well, I don't know about that. Well, man, I really want to do that. You know what? Here's how you do it. In 5 things, tell me how to catch trash.
It's how you do it. Don't get caught.
Exactly. It doubles down even more. So, but it's so true.
I'm your friend. That kind of stuff.
We're living. Well, I think we're living probably in the. And I hate doing the whole. We're living in the end times. The aliens are coming.
I hate to be. I don't want to be like the old guy in the room shaking my fist. Progress and progression and whatever.
Dude,
it's what it is.
It's so true. I'm on my lawn yelling at people. It's at the point where it's such a tough point to live in. I think we are living in such a strange time.
And people are just drowning for affection.
God.
In the old song, looking for love in all the wrong places. I can't believe I'm saying this. That's how old I am.
Me too. It was on my grandpa had on the Oldsmobile, had the push button radio changer, right?
Oh, man.
You pull it out, the change radio station.
Mom had a Nova that had an 8-track still in it.
Man, a Nova was a good car. I love that. But it's so true, man. We live in such a tough time. And I think that, it's easy to think we're doing the right thing. And that's why this is so, I don't think the Bible, biblical teaching, studying the Word of God can be any more critical
than
it is now.
Especially in relationships, man. Especially in those right now. And it's getting to a point now where with the submission, with the controlling, with the toxic masculinity, I do that with the air quotes, that people are not getting married. People are not settling down anymore. It's like everything is just Netflix and chill. And it's throwing our society out of whack.
100%.
It's throwing the whole thing.
I saw it, man. I'm going to pull this up. I saw this today. It was about divorce rates, actually. And, man, it was a profound stat. And I saw it actually this morning. I took the photo. I was like, man, I'm going to share that today with you. Why are the photos not just pop up as photos? What's going on with these phones?
I saw one not too long ago, and it scared me because
here it is.
The church divorce rate between Christians is just about the same as secular divorce.
It's because secularism has moved into the church. It's what we talked about with the grace and all that, and the hyper grace and the hyper this and just feel good and all that mess. Marriage rates dropped 19.9% in the last 50 years. So we're almost down 20%. Not only are we getting divorced at a higher rate, you're having less marriages because of, I think that's a cause and effect.
Yes.
I think you see people that have gotten relationships because also the old way of, well, we've been together for so long now, we were high school sweethearts, whatever. They've seen that ungodly relationship that stayed together, that was super toxic too. And it was, well, we have to stay together because we have to put on facade for the church. And we can't get divorced because it says don't divorce. Quite frankly, folks, I heard that a long time. Read the Bible. It doesn't say you can't divorce. It doesn't. It says divorce is wrong, and it has all these very specific things.
A lot of things that we do is wrong.
Exactly. And it says that God wants you to have peace. Inherently, it wants you to have peace. In the Corinthians, he talks about that. And I'm not saying people need to get married and divorced if they don't like each other. That's the other problem. We give up too easily.
I very much so.
I showed the photos. I used to be super fat. And it sucks to run 4 or 5 miles a day. But guess what? I'm not as fat as I used to be. And my heart rate variability is a lot better. You know what I mean? Life's not supposed to be easy. And I think that's the thing too, with living in society today. Everything's supposed to be just so simple, and everything's going to work out, and just do you.
It's the microwave life. We want the microwave life.
Yeah, no, man, you know what? How much better is it when you cook it on the stove?
Man, it's so
much better. That's a great way to put it right there. Get rid of the microwave, pull out the gas stove, start cooking again.
My youngest son refuses to use a microwave.
I don't have one.
He refuses to use
I don't have one in my house. Yeah, people think I'm crazy. I don't have one in my house, man. I'm hokey now. I'm a weird dude. And I know that about me. But yeah, I don't have a microwave, and it's not. There's a lot of health reasons, and I'm just like,
That's the same thing with Johnny, man. He looked at it. He said, "Man, you just putting all that radiation in your body." and he's right.
He's right.
He's right. But
to free radicals.
Yeah. But it's the same way with everything else, man. You putting horrible stuff in your body. You get this point to where you want everything at the click of a button.
Exactly.
And everything. And we like you say, we're in a society right now where everything is just about like Pop-Tart meals.
Yeah, and dude, I'm gonna tell you, it's not anything that you get easy is not worth it.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing is like the instant gratification takes away the pain of the I hate someone pain of the pillage, right?
Yeah.
So there's fun in gaining because you earn.
Yes.
Being an earner versus being a receiver is very different.
And that's true, because I was sitting up with my wife not too long ago, and she looked over at me. She's over reading a book, and I was over there editing some videos or something.
Yeah.
And she looked and she was like, "We're growing old together."
Yeah.
And
that's
I was
so
like,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I envy that, man. Yeah. Amy, when you watch this, you better tell me what's going on. You heard that? Yeah, true story. I envy that. I do. I think my parents will be 50 years. Parents will be 50 years this year. And man, you talk about watching people that have had ups and downs. I mean, and my dad traveled a lot when I was young, and then my mom worked hard to make sure that we were taken care of. And but the beauty of it was I was able to see a family, a mom and dad that no matter what their issues were, whatever. They kept us pretty sheltered from it, and they worked hard to make sure that we felt, I'll tell you something, I'd say this about my dad a lot. We got some great dads, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We would always sit, have a family meal, and they had this blue family devotional that my dad, and he would read a family devotional. Yeah. And that was and I used to just be like, oh my God, let me go play NHL 97 on Sega.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it was, that was such a thing, man. And to this day, my dad sends me verses every single morning and a breakdown and story in it and kind of a quick devotional concept. Mm-hmm. And man, I can't imagine not having that leadership in my life.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That's a blessing, man.
As a man, I wish I was able to provide that leadership.
Yeah.
And I can only hope to be as strong as my father is for me and for my grandfather, who he was for me as well.
Yeah.
And that's
here, man.
As dudes, man, like, that's where I get on this submission stuff. So I go, I want to be such a strong leader that it's not a question. Yeah. That this makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And biblically, man, I was so far from God.
Yeah, me too.
And I was pushing, brother. I was going, please, let me do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you know how empty I felt?
Yeah, man. It gets to the point to where it's like, how much do you really need? How much of these different chicks and how much of this stuff do you really need and everything? It gets so empty.
Yeah.
And then you spend some time alone, and it's like, this is better.
Yeah.
Than being, with this chick this, and this chick this, and this chick this. And then once you get to the point to where I am right now, like I couldn't imagine a day, even with the things that we went through, because we had some dark times in our 23, 24 years of being together. But I couldn't imagine, without her right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't, dog. And it's a blessing to be able to sit around, especially in these days.
Yeah.
Because I don't know too many other people. My best friend T, him and his wife have been married for 26 years.
That's wild, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. But that's the only other person that I know in my age range.
It doesn't happen.
That's been married for that long.
Yeah, and I've seen people co-parent really well together and all that stuff and all that crap. Man, but even then, that's a rarity because it's very difficult to do because then you enter in other people into a relationship.
Yeah.
And I saw a crazy statistic also, and it talked about abuse in homes. Do you know what the leading cause of child abuse in a home is?
What's the?
Step-parent.
Yeah, which is why I gave such a good shout out to my stepmom.
Isn't that wild, though?
Mom,
That's wild.
It is.
And I know because people are like talking about all these different things. That literally is 100%. Is the differentiator. And I was like, man, that is a crazy multiplier. But when you think about it, you go, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's so much tension that it causes, and that's what broken homes are. And so all these things, man, that again, the biblical principle, you could say what you want about Jesus, the Bible, God, its teachings. You know what it doesn't do? Bad stuff for your life.
Yeah.
You know what we do? Bad stuff for our lives.
Yeah.
We don't know how to get it together.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I mean, this is quite frankly the best instruction manual that we have.
It is the best.
All of it plays together. And that's why, we've talked about this too. Picking apart those verses and pulling them out here and saying, this means this.
Yeah, and taking them out of context and just, ripping and screaming out of context.
It doesn't work.
Too, man.
Yeah, you got to study it holistically and wholly as a pure piece and have an open heart to understand that this was not written to go, look what I'm going to do for these.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a bunch of times. 40 authors, 1,600 years, 3 continents, 3 languages. I quite frankly would venture to say that Paul, Peter, Moses, they're not sitting up in heaven going, I'm going to get Joe and Ian.
Yeah.
That's not their goal. That was not their goal in writing these things, right?
But I think a lot of people think like that.
I think they do.
I think a lot of people think that it was like 5 guys sitting in a room that just stitched this together. It was like, we're going to put something together so we can just, who was it? Marx. Marx is the one that said that religion, Karl Marx is the one that said that religion is the opioid for people.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what you think?
Yeah.
He really thinks that it's just like something that you just take to just numb yourself to reality. And so it's a lot of people that actually believe that, hey man, these guys just stuck this in here and just wrote this out so that they can control you.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, the movie, The Book of Eli, with Denzel Washington. It brought something to my attention, a great movie, Denzel. But it brought something to my attention. It was like, you really can control people.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about last week with the denomination. You really can't control people if you just take stuff out of context and you feed it to them and you say it came from here. Absolutely. You can really control somebody.
That's the way a lot of that's the way most of the other religions work, right? You know what I mean? That's what's so crazy about it too. The other thing too, when you look at the teaching here that we receive, at the end of the day, it's all about hope, man.
Yes.
And we talked about how many times love, when I was doing the lecture Sunday, how much love, it's almost 1,000 times that love is throughout the text. That's an unbelievable amount of time for that one singular word or concept to be laid out in somewhere. And it's a hope and a faith in that hope that provides so much respite, right, for your soul. It gives you the opportunity. I have tons of issues. I'm sure you do as well, right?
Very much so. Still to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, like literally, I have things that worry me right now, and I'm going, I'm excited because I'm here. We're able to have this conversation. I'm going to go home and watch hockey. I'm going to read my Bible and fall asleep and go, we got another day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that, everybody has issues. But what I've found is that in my most desperate time, in my most failing time of life, even in the highest of successes, right? The hope that I got from that Philippians 1:21, right? For to me to live is Christ, to die is gain. That hope that it provided, I went, if this dude is sitting in a Roman prison and he's writing about this, and I'm sitting here in a condo in Clearwater, where's the difference at, bud? You know what I mean? So I was like, there's got to be maybe something to this. And then you start, and so I'm a history guy. We talked about that too. You start digging in the history of it. You talk about who put the church together and put the Bible together. When you start understanding how difficult it was to put the Bible and its scripts together. And then the arguments that went on at the different councils, the Council of Nicaea, the Council of Trent, all those that built what faith and religion kind of came from. Man, the debates were heavy. They were super heavy. I mean, from both ends of the spectrum.
Even before the Council of Trent and all that, with the early church fathers.
Oh man,
the way that they would write, because they wrote a lot of commentaries.
Paul and Barnabas and Cephas, they got in a big fight, right? They're like, we're not even talking to you no more.
Take Mark with you, man. I don't like him.
I don't like that cat. And it was literally all over. It was all over. Circumcision. How do you speak with the Jews and talk to Gentiles?
And that's the thing. It's always been those type of dissensions in the church, even back then, like you say, the argument with those guys, hey man, we finna split up and go different ways, man, and you go with that guy. People don't realize that's something, but none of those guys say, hey man, you ain't gonna be with us no more. You're not gonna be a Christian anymore.
We'll take 5 and get back to it. Right? Not the old Chinese place. Great old Chinese place stuff. Even free water.
But in relationships, it's the same way. I had to go back to that. In the moments where me and my wife were at each other about different things, raising kids. We had different ideas about raising kids. We had different ideas about how we would pay bills. We had different ideas about certain things like that. And it took me it took us a minute to get to the point that where we would focus on that right there and say, hey man, we're going to take our cues from this right here. And that's what we're going to do. And I had to be the one to step up and say, this is what we're going to do. And I had to go and search that and make sure that I was the one to bring this to her and say, hey, this is what we're in this now. We're doing this now. So that word is what really has kept us together.
I love that, man.
All these years, man.
If I would have tried to be a godly man, I don't know where I'd be in my life right now. I truly don't know how much my life would change necessarily. The circumstances. Never mind. Some of the circumstances would absolutely change. But but my point is, like, I don't know if that would make me in a circumstance of better, a circumstance of worse, a circumstance of more enlightened. Like, I don't know, but I do know that the times that I have tried, honestly and earnestly, to seek out God in the Word, my life has gotten what I would call hopeful, manageable, in an emotional sense. Because God gave us every emotion too, right? So we if you are a wreck of emotions, whether it's anger, sad, whether it's happy, glad, we have that all for a reason. And it's for us to understand what it means to be a human. And we try to mute what it means to be a human too often.
Or we try to make it up into our own words.
It's crazy. Man, I called my dad this morning and I was like, man, I'm struggling with some things. And he goes, man, I want you to look up, and he just, like literally, he popped it off real quick. I'm like, man, you've been holding on to that or something. It was Hebrews 11 in the first 3 verses. I'm just going to read this real quick. It says, the triumphs of faith. It says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. For by it the men of old gained approval. Verse 3 says, by faith we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of the things which are visible. It's faith. And if you don't have something bigger than yourself, none of this makes sense.
Man, if you are just full of pride and it's just only the way that you see it without having, like you said, something outside of yourself, it is still a rough life.
It's terrible.
It's still a rough, miserable life.
And we're about an hour. We can close out here pretty soon. But man, it's so true.
Yes, very much so.
And that's why this was so important, guys. We wanted to bring this up. Is the submission piece is one, like we've talked about, is such it's viewed detrimentally. But in the Word of God, submission starts with having faith in God, submission to God, and His way of laying out the life plan. And I think we agree, like, with women specifically, it's not about don't be a woman, don't have all these things. It's about submitting to your husband that you know has your best interest and your best foots forward in his mind. And also it's our duty as men. And that's where I think we fall. And that's what I was referring to on Sunday too, is we fail because honestly, this society tells us to fail.
Yes. They're leading us if you listen to this society, the quote unquote red pill stuff, and this, hey man, go make as much money as you can, have as much sex with as many women as you can, buy the nice cars and show it off, and that's what's being pushed down our young kids' throat right now. Is what Andrew Tate and guys like that, man. And I will say this because I listened to some of the red pill and they got some pretty good points on some things, but a broken clock is right twice a day.
Exactly.
I mean, you can, what they always say, a blind squirrel will find a nut every night.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. I think it's built so. Man, the devil, man, he's really good at what he does.
Slick, man. He's
and
slick.
He doesn't want you. He ain't gonna come out here in a red suit and a pitchfork and go, oh my goodness, follow me to hell, everybody. That's not how it's gonna go. He's the king of the deception, right? He is a deceiver. And knowing that, he's also here to steal, kill, and destroy. And so when you look at what you're talking about, right, the Andrew Tate and that concept, go get you a nice car too, go get a brakes job. Let me tell you. The car I drive, sometimes I wish I didn't have to get the oil changed ever. It's ridiculous. So I made that mistake.
And there's nothing wrong with nice cars and stuff like that.
But man,
don't let that define you, and don't use that as the thing that helps you draw women and things like that. That's very carnal.
Well, I think we've done it wrong too. And the other piece of that is women have been told the same thing.
Yes.
And so what we've seen is we talk about the divorce rates, we talk about marriage rates dropping. Instead of getting connected to each other, we continue to get pushed apart. And if you don't see that as a by design thing, quite frankly, pull the wool off of your eyes and go to the eye doctor and get the cataracts pulled out, because it ain't that hazy. It's pretty clear.
It's very clear.
It's very clear. The only reason I know it's hazy with cataracts, I got one, man. I need to get that checked out. It drives me nuts. Bright lights at night. Anyway.
Oh man.
But I think that's the biggest issue, is we've got to learn how to get in the Word. Men need to learn how to be leaders again. And it's okay to be a leader. I love what you said about work too, right? Without direction, there is no workflow. And without workflow, there's no production. If there's no production, nobody's paying bills.
Nothing's getting done. Nothing's getting done. And the Bible actually says, if you don't provide for your family, you're worse than a believer. I can't think of the verse right now, but I know it's in there.
No, it does. Our men's, one of the biggest struggles I've ever had, right, and is when you want to feel unfulfilled, is when you feel like I'm not providing enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not being there enough, I'm not being good enough. And I also think that's a quick way for sin to slip in.
It is.
Because then you start looking for other ways to go, I can feel fulfillment. And then it's the love and respect thing. So then you stop loving because you don't feel like you're receiving respect, because you're not showing love and they're not going to show respect. And so that crazy cycle starts. The next thing you know,
it can go in reverse too.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you could work too much. And not be present enough.
Disappearing into it.
Yes. And so it's a nice little soft spot that you have to find.
Absolutely.
With providing and still being present with your family. We've seen, look, I saw a clip today of a guy that was a CDL driver coming home to his lady in bed with another guy. And I've heard that story a lot. These guys driving, they go on 2-3 weeks at a time, and
he's got him a Proverbs 7 woman.
Yes, and not to say, I've heard, and this is the thing, I've heard ministers say, I'm not gonna call his name because I really got a lot of respect for the guy, and I think this is probably one of the worst things I heard him ever say. But I heard a guy saying that men, you can push your woman into the arms of another man, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if that's the case, then the reverse is also true. It's not always because sometimes a woman could push a man into 100%. The arms of another woman. So you can't just stand up there and just put it all on the guy, even though we're supposed to be the leaders.
Yeah, correct.
But I'm big on accountability.
Yeah.
So there has to be some accountability on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we can sit up here and we can rail against men not being leaders, because that's very true.
Yeah.
In this society that we're living in now, I don't think that a lot of men, the younger men especially, are built for leadership right now.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're built for it.
No, we're torn down for it.
I don't think that a lot of the women in this society, the younger women, or the older ones for that matter, are built to be Proverbs 31 women.
Exactly. I completely agree with you.
I don't see it. To see a Proverbs 31 woman is rare.
Oh, bro.
It's like...
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. But it's rare to see. It's like a two-headed dinosaur.
100%.
It's like you never see it. And if you do, you're like, wow, look at that,
Yeah.
Tiamat. No, I shouldn't have said that. But it's very rare to see women like that now.
Yeah.
Most of them are following the I hate to do that, but the Meg Thee Stallion and the Cardi B and that's the lane that they're running in. Now Cardi B is trying to come back and do her thing, but it's the boss babe, the boss
I want to earn my respect.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No,
you're not earning any respect.
No, you're not.
100%.
No, so I think as a society we need to come back to this.
Agreed.
This right here. That's what we need to get back to. It's going to take a lot of talking. It's going to take a lot of young people actually listening to older people. I always want to sit down with some younger people because I have been, and not to be prideful or anything, but I've been in a relationship for a long time, and I wanted to sit down with some young people.
You should be proud of that. That's amazing.
I mean, I am, but I mean, I don't want to be like, hey, I know what to do, and you guys just need to listen to me.
No, it's from the point of I've been there, done it, made those mistakes.
Exactly.
And I can live through them and help you see them, hopefully, before you hit that speed bump at 60 miles an hour.
Well, I've talked to a lot of these younger guys, and a lot of them just don't want to hear what I got to say.
No, they don't care. Yeah.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And I was the exact opposite. Like I said, I was listening to my dad because I was like, okay, this is how you make this work. I was listening to my granddad, even though my granddad was like, them old shady pastors, but he still he figured out something, right?
Yeah, he had the values, right? The values and the leadership quality that went, I know this is my role and this is what I'm going to take on. Yeah, it's so important, man. Yeah. So
if we could get the younger generation, if we could get the older men to lead, and the younger generation to listen.
Exactly. That's great. Yeah.
That's what we need.
So true. That's so true. I love it. I think that's what we got, man.
Yeah, I'm with
That's what we got. Well, guys, you know what we're happy about? We know where we're going.
Yeah.
And we hope you're there with us. We'll see you in eternity.